Welcome to the Chris and Sam podcast. Pull up a bar stool and join us for a random conversation, guaranteed to make you think or your money back.
Hey there, welcome to the Chris and Sam podcast. My name is Sam.
And I'm Chris. How you doing, Sam?
Amazing. Not too bad. I've worked this morning, so probably a little bit sleepy, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I know you had a crazy, wild night.
Yeah, no, I had a late night. Got home. I had to drive up to Auckland, drive back, and it was great. It was worth it. But yeah, I got home around to bed about midnight. And then friend's last class taking it body combat at Les Mills this morning at 6 o'clock. So had to be there ready for 6 o'clock and do.
How long does the class go for?
An hour.
Oh, wow.
So
that already sounds like 2 minutes too long for me.
Yeah, no, it was good though. It was a good class, and I felt a lot more awake afterwards. I walked out of my bedroom because I go in the morning with my flatmate.
Yeah.
And she goes, you ready? And I'm like, yep. And she goes, no, you're not. And I'd put my shorts on inside out, and the pockets are flapping out. I was like, I'll just go and turn my shorts the right way in. But I was half asleep.
You know what you should have said? That's how I dress for the ladies.
I'll remember that for next time. Yeah. So, it's been a good day. So, last night went to Script to Screen up in Auckland. So, it's like a Writers Guild type thing. We had a few speakers, and I'm going to totally forget who they were now. So, we'll throw it in a link in the
show notes
on what it was. But Tom Hearn, I remember, and Tim Riley. I know Tim. I'm actually going to be interviewing in the New Zealand Filmmakers podcast. Met him last year.
Which is the other podcast that we have now started.
Yes. And Tom Hearn was the producer or whatever for Dark Horse.
Yes.
Yes. Producer or director, I forget now. Really interesting guy. And the topic of the evening was, all about taking the films out to film festivals and stuff like that. My God. I mean, it's bad enough, as you know, like creating a film, doing all that production and post-production work and all the rest of it, but then having to get it out and distribute it and get it on the festival circuits and stuff. It's like a whole other job on top of everything else you do.
Sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
Plus like the money must cost a bit.
Yes. And you don't get funding. So, Film Commission funds you for production, but they don't fund you for this promotion side of it.
It's a bit crazy. You think I don't know.
Yeah, I know. So
you think they'd partnership up and sort of take half the credit somewhere along the lines?
Well, I mean, they do give you something. They give you something to get along to a festival. They might fly an actor across to one of the festivals or something, or the director or something. But Anyway, I don't think you should lean on the Film Commission. I think you should find ways of doing it. And this is why crowdfunding is a great way for films, because if you stage the crowdfunding right, you can use it several times throughout the creation, the project.
Yeah, that's true, because you'd already have established fan base.
Yeah.
And you want to build on that.
And then by the time that is out, you've got these people that want to dying to see it because they've been following this story the whole time.
Yeah. What do they call them? Brand ambassadors or something?
Yeah, brand ambassadors, basically. Fans.
And what's the other term? There's another term for that.
Advocates?
No, there's something else. I can't think of what it's called now. There is another term for it that we hear all the time over here. Oh, we heard it lots at the marketing conference. When they're like a diehard fan and they do all the promo and stuff for you. Don't dwell on it. Just believe me that there is another term out there.
Yeah. Okay. Advocates. Anyway. Okay. So that was last night. That was
awesome. I ended up going to the Social Media Club at Rotorua very first event the other week.
Yeah, that was
pretty
week,
cool.
Right, yeah.
Saw a few people. Well, there wasn't that many people there, to be honest. I think they had catering for 60 and there was about 7 of us. So
Win.
And it was real fancy food too.
Oh, awesome.
When they bring out some salmon on the little things.
Ooh.
You're like, oh.
Yeah. So you had a good speaker there?
Yes, we had a speaker called Jens Mueller, and he's a lecturer at Waikato Uni, and he just got the New Zealand Order of Merit at the start of this year, which is
nice.
Great. And he does business papers,
yep.
Bachelor's, I think, and Masters in business or whatever. Yep. And but he teaches all over the world, and he teaches at all these different universities. And he was talking about the tool he uses to connect with all these students. And they went through a whole different process of looking at what all these universities use. A lot of them do use Moodle as a training tool, and a few others use weird things. But the one thing that almost every single student uses, I think it was like 5% don't use it flat out, but everyone else does at varying levels, was Facebook.
Yeah.
So he uses that, and he uses closed groups for every class that he takes. And
Those closed groups and secret groups are so common now. Like I've bought a lot of courses, as you know, and
Chris is the course man.
Yeah, well, when I had money, I was, and so I belong to a whole bunch of these secret or closed groups or whatever, and it's pretty cool. I think.
So he actually he doesn't have a, from what I understand, I can't remember, he may or may not have a private account, but anyway, he friends all the students and then invites them in, which is cool, and he runs quiz questions just as a comment, and then all the students have to answer place 3 comments on the one question, and then he's got a very fancy spreadsheet that collates all that data and puts it all together for him really quickly, and I don't know how it works. He didn't show us that, but that would have been really cool to see. And he marks it all, and he does all of that in like 15 minutes, and he can have like 120 people or something answering all these questions all at once.
Wow.
And then he does a voice notation and just sends them an MP3 file with what he wants to say, which is pretty cool. But he was saying there's a limit on Facebook of how many friends you can have, and it's about
5,000.
Yeah, and he said this year he's going to approach it, because what he finds is these people that study with him still want to be in contact with him.
Yeah.
And he says it's really cool because these people go, hey, I just got this most amazing job wherever, and then they just comment on things with other students. But he said
might have to make it a page.
Yeah, he's going to have to. No, I think he said he's going to start culling a few people out.
Yeah.
But he said, look, if you say that you met me here and you know who I am, as opposed to a spammer, I'll add you, no worries. So, real neat guy.
Yeah, no. So, Social Media Club, for people that don't know about it, is an international sort of format for these meetings, and it's Social Media Club. It's all about talking about social media, obviously, but there's no agendas. You can't have people who are there to promote themselves. The speakers are all there to give information on how they're using social media, because the reality is there's as many different uses for it as there are people on the planet.
Yeah,
pretty much,
that's right,
you know?
and it's broadening people's horizons.
And that's how I first met you.
Yes, that is how we met randomly.
Yeah, because I been helping run the Social Media Club Hamilton for the last couple of years, I guess.
A while now.
Yeah. Haven't been doing a lot this year, and we've got to get something going, I must say, but I've been busy with other things. So, yeah, time for me to pass that torch on, I think, a little.
The trick is trying to find someone that'll take that torch and run with it.
Yes, pretty much. Otherwise, it's just going to be a puddle of wax on the ground.
Yeah.
All right, so what else we got?
Oh, I got a interesting email the other day from a Trade Me seller.
Yeah.
Remember how I brought that cable that was wrong?
Yeah.
The other week. Well, I brought the correct cable, but it was from a seller in the UK.
Yeah, that's right.
And their company name's Jangleberry. And it's in the email it says, thanks for buying from us. Always remember to jangle your berries. And I thought it was quite funny, actually.
So that was definitely worth bringing along to the Chris and Sam podcast. This is the highlight, folks, of this episode of the Chris and Sam podcast.
This is Jangle Your Berries
Don't
episode.
Don't forget to jangle your berries.
You can read into that as much as you want.
And if we were on a certain other podcast that we both listen to from time to time, we can imagine where that would go.
Yeah. I'm thinking of you, pod fellas.
Yeah.
Kneel before pod.
Yeah.
Do you jangle your berries? Let's wait and see if they listen to this.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
So, and we'll talk about the tool that we're actually using to track all this amazing stories. We've both started using, I started using it, and then I had to explain it to Chris a bit more. Trello.
I actually started using it before you did.
You did, but
I didn't know how to use it.
But you were having a bad experience because it was set up all funny.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm helping organise, and we should talk about that a little bit later too, the TEDx Ruakura, and we're using Trello to help organise that. But somebody had set it up, and it didn't make any sense to me. I was having trouble. I showed it to Sam. Did I show it to you? Yeah, I did, eh?
No.
Oh, somebody else showed it to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow I just found it.
And then so he said...
No, Amber told us. Amber was telling us.
That's right. I knew somebody there was discussion about this.
And she gets annoyed because the people that she works with, when they're doing the Beyond the Achievements...
Yep.
That's right, eh?
Yep.
I hope I got that right. They're not using it, so she has to keep hassling them.
Right.
But she mentioned it to me, and I sort of vaguely had this recollection of seeing a website one day about it.
So anyway, Sam set up stuff for us, and he set it up in a beautiful way. Like, it's process-driven. It makes perfect sense. I jumped in there and went, so I just do this, and then this, and then this, and it's perfect. Whereas the other one I'd seen set up was less than perfect.
Basically, it's a to-do list sort of thing with boards, and you can move your little lists around.
Cards, lists, and boards.
Yeah. Really, the best way to have a look is go to Trello.com, just sign up, it's free, and just have a play with it, and you can get apps on the phone.
Or actually watch the video on Trello.com, because that really
there's a video?
It is a good video that shows you how he can do it, and it makes so much more sense if you watch
that's
the video.
good. So check out Trello.com. I've actually...
And it's free. That's the big thing. It
Yeah.
is free.
And I mean, there is a paid version to upgrade like some real random stuff,
Yeah,
but no
it
one's
is
ever gonna pay for that.
Oh, I want to colour the background with stickers, and I don't want to pay for that.
But I have taught 2 people that aren't too onto it with computers to be using it, and they're all over it. Like, I get all these weird notifications now, and that's helping me organise pumpkin events.
Yay!
So that's good.
No, that is good. Maybe I should be setting up the Social Media Club Hamilton on this.
Possibly, but you just need to find someone else first.
Yeah. Well, no, if I can set something up and hand it off, it's a lot easier than trying to hand it off, because it's like, oh, this is how you do it, and they go, oh, this is easy.
And if they've got any questions, they can just leave it there, and you can just reply.
Exactly. Okay, so, yep, that's cool. That's enough on Trello, I think. Moving on. You had a story about hitchhiking?
Oh, yeah. My flatmate had some random tourists that she decided to bring home, and they stayed one night. Just randomly, they came up to her in the street and asked if she had a job going for them, because her work truck's all sign written. So we had a giant Tasmanian dude, like 6'4", knew everything, had worked everywhere. He was the man. And his actually he was quite tiny compared to him, English girlfriend. And they're travelling around New Zealand looking for work.
So the farm work, specifically.
They were asking for farm work, but he can do anything because he's done it all. Everything.
Yeah, sounds like you had a few yarns there.
Well, I didn't. I just had to listen because he wouldn't stop talking. So he's managed bars, backpackers, hostels. He's worked on farms. He worked in a sawmill. He's done oil exploration, worked on oil fields, and just carried on and on and on. So that was a bit interesting.
That's cool. That's cool.
I've also actually I know how well you are at looking after our Twitter accounts. That means he doesn't.
I don't look at them.
He's very busy, to be honest, Chris. So if you see us tweet, it's 99.9% of the time it's me. That's cool, but I've been following a lot of people at the moment, and they've been following us back and been listening to a lot of different podcasts, especially people that have been connecting with us on Twitter, and I just want to say the quality is all over the place. Now, I'm not saying we're good.
Yes, he is.
Far from it.
We're good.
But some people, I'm sorry to say this, cannot hold a conversation. One guy sounded like a robot. He sounded like this all the time, and it never changed. Doesn't matter what he was saying. It was really weird. And
that is funny, though, because you sort of wonder what's going on in his head when he does it, and what does he hear when he listens to himself?
I don't know. But the weird thing is, I was thinking about it as I was driving over here. I'm listening to all the podcasts at 1.3 times the speed. So it is sped up a little bit.
Yeah.
And these people are still talking ridiculously slow. Although we are Kiwis and we're known for talking really fast. So,
are we?
Yeah, it's a thing that a lot of people from overseas can't deal with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not the accent, it's the speed that a lot of us talk.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So it's something. I listened to another podcast, and they had a chick who kept doing this weird nervous laugh, and that was a bit annoying. But I will tell you about some really cool podcasts you should check out. Check out Pure BS podcast. We'll link this in the show notes. Only listen to them if you've got an open mind, because they talk about some random stuff, but it's very funny.
And so bad language and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like, they'll say something random within the first 30 seconds. So see how you go with that. Don't listen to them in the car with the kids. Who else? I will say Neil Before Pod.
Yep.
That's how I got onto Pure BS.
Yeah, and so they've got a lot of not so great.
They've got a warning at the start, so just listen to that
start.
warning.
Yeah.
Cool. Listen to Quadfather MFT. He's really cool. They're over in the States, him and Swanee.
Right.
They're good value. And Hillbilly Nerd Talk is another. That's a husband and wife duo in Kentucky. Is about, I think. Yeah, it sounds good. Check them out. They're very good.
Yeah, well, I've been listening to 10X Talks. 10X Talks.
TEN.
No, number 10. X Talks.
And what do they have? I thought you said TEDx Talks.
I know. 10X Talks. So it's Dan Sullivan and Joe Polish. and they talk about it's a business one. It really is a business one.
Yeah.
But I was listening to that just earlier today. Actually, and that was really good. And of course, I've always said, Lewis Howes, love his thing, The School of Greatness. Tim Ferriss, been listening a lot to them. Still listening to The Fighter and the Kid quite a bit, so that's cool. And what else do I listen to a lot of is, I Love Marketing with Joe Polisher, yes. So those are cool. And of course, I've subscribed now to the NZ Filmmakers podcast, so that was...
That's just so he knows what he sounds like after I've edited it.
I haven't listened to it yet, I just subscribed.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Thanks, Chris.
Oh, no, I listened to it, when we had the thing, when we were editing and
going
stuff.
backwards and forwards with that.
But, I finally saw that it was up on Pocket Cast, so I could subscribe. Yeah.
Ah, very good.
Yeah.
It was on there initially, and then I think it disappeared, and I don't know if it's back again. I might have to email them.
I was scrolling through and went, hang on, I haven't subscribed to my own podcast. Good God. So, yeah.
Actually, I just thought of another really crap podcast that I listened to. Can't even remember what it was called. It was 4 guys, and in the first 30 seconds, they're having a few hits from the bong. And then they're giggling and talking crap, and delete. So,
that would be a great name for a podcast.
No, it had a
Hits from the Bong.
It had a really weird name.
That would be Hits from the Bong. It's a great name for a podcast.
It is. Actually, I've got one more podcast which is reasonably good. I like them. I've just started listening to them, but it's the name that I love. It's just 2 guys talking random stories, sort of like what we're doing. And I don't know, there might be a bit of a... I've only listened to 1 episode, so sorry guys if you hear this, but the Amish Baby Machine podcast.
The Amish Baby Machine?
Podcast.
Amish Baby Machine.
Dags and Jeff, hello.
Yeah.
In the latest episode, they were talking about... Saturday Night Live turned 40.
Yeah.
And they had a 3-hour special, and they were talking about that.
Oh, right, yep. Ooh, very good, very good. Oh, so you finally saw John Wick, eh?
I did see John Wick, and I loved it. It was great.
I know, I saw it twice. Accidentally saw it twice because I saw it.
Yeah, accidentally. You just stumbled in and just kept staring at the screen, and then an hour and whatever later.
No, I watched it, and then the next day we had a film thing, and around friend's place, and they were showing 2 films, and it was one of the films that I'd just seen the night before. But yeah, it was worth watching again. I love it.
I was really good. It didn't have shaky cam. It didn't really do that, which was good, so you don't get seasick watching that. It also...
The fight choreography is just awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good, and it was...
they called it, in the making of it, behind the scenes, so they're calling it gun fu.
Actually, that's what I want to see, the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I haven't seen the behind the scenes, I heard.
It was in the JB Hi-Fi catalogue. It came out yesterday. It was boom. And the other... so that was cool. It was really good because he actually runs out of bullets and he has to change his magazine, and then he runs out of those. So it's like, oh my god, it's a bit more realistic. Yeah. They actually thought it through, I think.
He didn't have the infinity symbol in the bottom of his screen.
No.
Yeah.
And there's a movie that everyone keeps talking about, and for the life of me I can't remember what it's called.
You're gonna have to give me more than that.
I know, I'm gonna have to Google it. Sorry, just forget about me for a sec.
I watched Birdman.
Which is just won Best Cinematographer, and did it get anything else?
Yeah, it got something else. I'm sure it got something else.
I don't know.
I think one of the actors got something.
Okay. Well, it won an award, at least one.
Yeah, I thought it actually did really well, but I didn't follow the Oscars at all.
No, neither did I.
Yeah, but anyway, so I watched it, but the problem was I watched it after we got back from...
And after we did the podcast, which sounds terrible. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, so we actually recorded this podcast previously, and it was some technical difficulties, and it was unsalvageable, so we're re-recording the podcast.
Yes.
But we had driven back we'd gone out down to New Plymouth for Tropfest, got on, had 1 or 2 beverages in the evening.
That was mainly you.
Yeah, okay, I had 1 or 2 beverages for everybody in the evening. Then the next morning, breakfast, drove back, did the podcast recording for about 2 hours. So I was absolutely shattered, but I was too tired to sleep, and it was too early, so I watched Birdman, and that probably coloured it quite a bit for me, because I was just like, when is it going to end? When is it going to get interesting? Oh, God. And so, yeah. I don't want to be a hater, and I think I will definitely watch it again at some point. The cinematography was really good. The story was in my mind, crap, but that's maybe because I didn't get it.
It was a bit arty-farty, sort of.
Yeah, I
Did
don't
you
know.
like the filming of it?
The filming of it was really good.
Yeah, that's
it
what I
was
like.
very clever. But yeah, the story, I was just like, But I think I was just too tired for it. I shouldn't have watched it. I should have watched a really stupid comedy movie.
Yeah,
you know?
like a
Just
no-brainer one.
yeah, Adam Sandler thing, and just like,
Yeah.
ha ha ha. And
Zone out. The movie that everyone's been talking about lately, and I have to see, and I keep forgetting, is Whiplash. Have you seen that?
I've never even heard of it.
You will, honestly, in the next week or two, you'll hear everyone talking about it, because I've heard it mentioned about 4 to 8. Yep. So here's the premise. A promising young drummer enrolls at a cutthroat music conservatory where his dreams of greatness are mentored by an instructor who will stop at nothing to realize a student's potential. So it's got hints of, it's in drama/music, and apparently it's really good. It's rated really highly. IMDb gave it 8.6 out of 10.
Wow.
Rotten Tomatoes gave it 95%, and Metacritic is at 88%.
Wow.
And Ryan Connolly from Film Riot is one of his top 3 films. Birdman was the other one.
Yeah, well,
and
that didn't help.
No,
Just then.
and his third one was, is it Something Girls? Everyone keeps going on about that. I haven't seen that.
50 Shades of Grey.
No, the thing with 50 Shades of Grey is it's only got like 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got like 20 on some other website.
Yeah, no,
But how much have they brought in? It was 90 million domestically and 200 and something internationally on opening weekend. And
Holy
it was
crap.
only made for 40.
okay.
So we're going to be seeing more of that. And actually that movie's upset a lot of people, because people that are in BDSM culture and into that sort of thing, it's utter crap. It doesn't represent things. Yeah. But people that don't know anything, they think it's great. So.
Yeah, I just don't want to know, really. Not my cup of tea, I got to say.
Oh.
I've forgotten what I was going to say.
I don't know.
when you
You're
interrupted
you're pointing at me, so that usually means I have to say something.
Oh, no, it was, you were talking about that Whiplash. The other film
Yes.
I really, really want to see that I haven't seen yet is the Stephen Hawking one, whatever it's called, because he won Best Actor, the guy that plays Stephen Hawking.
Oh, all right. Cool.
Do you know what the name of the film is?
No, I wouldn't have a clue.
Oh, okay.
I do
but
know.
I really want to see that. That'll be cool.
Yeah. So there's lots of stuff. What would you like to see, people? Let us know. Leave us a comment. Tweet us up.
Yeah, is there something
Chris
we
and
should be
Sam pod?
doing that we haven't? Hey, I'm gonna do a bit of a plug at the moment.
What are we plugging?
TEDx
sounds rock.
TEDx Ruakura. So,
You need to explain this.
yes, if you haven't heard TED, I don't know what planet you've been living on. Okay, so TED is Technology, Entertainment, and Design. I believe it was started in the late 70s in Monterey, California, which was at that time
It blows me away it's been around that long.
Yeah, it was just certain people meeting and talking. This is what I've picked up over time. It really came into its own when the internet came out and they started publishing all these things on video. So they have somebody who gets 10 minutes or up to 18 minutes to talk about a subject. It's got to have impact. It's got to...
Is the 18 minutes for TED or TEDx?
18 minutes for TED, I think it is.
Really? I'm sure I've seen ones on there where they wrap it on forever.
No. They're supposed to be really, really short.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be 25, I think, but it's got to be under half an hour. But I think most of them are under 20 minutes. So anyway, and our TEDx ones are, I think, 15 minutes. But basically, anyway, so it was Technology, Entertainment, Design. It got changed to Ideas Worth Sharing, so it's about everything. There's no political bias. There's no racial bias, religion bias, or anything like that. They've got to be scientific, basically, or artistic. And when I say scientific, they really don't like you using any pseudoscience stuff in there.
So you won't see Scientology there?
Probably not. Unless they have something specific to say. So TEDx is the independently organised TED event. So you get a license from TED, thousands and thousands of TEDx events around the world. So one of the biggest in the world actually is TEDx Auckland. I've been to every TEDx Auckland since they've been doing them. Their TEDx Auckland, I think, is 2nd of May or something like that this year.
Yeah, it's pretty early on.
Yeah, early May anyway.
Yeah, early May.
TEDx Ruakura is the one we're setting up for Hamilton. Now, we couldn't get the name TEDx Hamilton because those pesky Canadians already had it.
It's always the Canadians.
we would have liked to get TEDx Waikato, but they couldn't. They said, no, it's a region. You can't have a region. It's got to be a town or a suburb or a street or something.
That sucks.
So we thought about, TEDx Kirikiriroa, which is the Maori name for Hamilton here in New Zealand, and nobody will be able to say it or spell it or anything.
I didn't even know that until you told me that the other day.
So we went with TEDx Ruakura. Ruakura is the area in Hamilton where the innovation park is. There's ag research out there. The university's out in that direction. So it seemed like a good idea. So we're actually looking for speakers. If you know anybody basically in Hamilton that's doing something in the community, stuff like that, hit me up. Let me know. Let me know why you think they're a cool person and why we should give them a platform.
Now, because this is the first one, there's some...
There's a lot of limitations. So one of the first limitations is there's only 100 people that we can guess invited. We can only have 100 audience in the first one. And so audience will be by application. You have to apply to come. And there'll be a fee as well.
Oh, is there a fee?
Yeah. There was the very first time I went to TEDx Auckland, I had to apply, do a written application. I know 4 or 5 people applied that I know.
Yeah.
I was the only one that got it accepted.
Wow.
I just finished writing a book, so I think, because I put that in there and stuff like that.
When you apply to go to TEDx, who reviews that application?
The organisers, the local organisers.
The local organisers.
So in our case, it would be us.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's really important.
So what you're saying is I know someone that knows someone.
Yeah, and it's so important because the TEDx thing is all about the community. It's not all about the speakers. It's about the people that you meet there and the conversations you have between
connections.
Talks. Huge. And the open-minded people and people that you just want to sit down at a pub and talk to for like hours.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've got to build that community up from scratch, and that's why you can...
How many people were at the last TEDx Auckland?
2,400,
That's quite
I think.
a few, yeah, that's cool.
I'm guessing. It was somewhere around those figures, and it was one of the largest in the world. If not, I think the largest TEDx event in the world. So another famous one is TEDx Sydney is really, really well respected. But TEDx Auckland's up there.
Awesome.
And there's been a TEDx Tauranga 2 months ago, I should say. And there's TEDx in Christchurch, Dunedin, and Wellington.
Oh, wow, I didn't realise.
Yeah, I just haven't been to
I've got 2 questions for you.
Yes.
It must have to be recorded, does it?
Yes. So the videos will appear on the TEDx website.
And do you guys have to go get those big red signs made, or do you know? Because I always see that in the videos. It's always at the front of the stage.
We haven't actually talked about that. I must jump on Trello and throw that in there.
Add that onto your list.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it the other night. I'm like, do we need to get that? So the first one I went to of TEDx Auckland, they didn't have that. So.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think it's necessary.
As long as the 100 people know what they're there for and what's happening.
Yeah. No, they will. I think actually TEDxRuakura.com or it might be .co.nz probably actually, is now up. I haven't actually
We'll put a link in the show notes so you can check
we'll put a link in the show notes.
We'll promote
and
it.
There will be an application form for being either a speaker or for attending. That will be on the site. It might not be up there yet, but it will be soon.
I was looking at the site this morning, actually.
Yeah. And also follow, if you're on Twitter, follow TEDx Ruakura on Twitter.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called, just TEDx Ruakura.
And there's a Facebook page as well. We'll link to all that and share it all around.
Woohoo!
And that pretty much brings us to the end of this podcast episode.
I think so.
So this is episode number 22.
Episode 22 indeed.
So check us out on the website, thechrisandsampodcast.com.
Yep, or on Twitter, The Chris and Sam Pod.
Yep, or look for the Chris and Sam podcast on Facebook. And always remember, we are not the two in the hot tub. We are the two.
We have couches.
We have light bulbs for heads in the logo. Someone tweeted us it yesterday. They're like, oh my God, look, they've got light bulbs for heads. How cool. So
yeah, it's
awesome.
all about the ideas. But yeah, so do that, and I've forgotten what I was just going to say.
Well, that must be the end of the podcast then.
That'll be the end of the podcast.
Okay, until episode 23, I'm Sam.
And I'm Chris.
See you later.
Hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to subscribe and we'll catch you next week. Don't forget to tell your friend.